agency for the last 5 years. It can, as well as everything else. So I'm kind of hoping some of the things I'm talking to you about here comes from a place of relevance and authenticity to what we do every day as well. Okay, so let's get this out from the very top. So influence, as we all know, is a medium that's finally reaching maturity. I'm sure you all remember social 1.0. For those of you who are old enough to remember Facebook and MySpace, when we used to have those beautiful content personal walls and FB. That obviously moved on to social 2.0 when we saw Instagram come up, and you saw, that's when you really saw the rise of the creator. And I'm sure, for all the brand people in the room as well as agency people, do you remember when we used to try and make beautiful grids, color coordinated grids by season, and all the colors were absolutely perfect? That used to be the norm for the longest time, and it was very aspirational. We are now in social 3.0, right? So this is where you've seen TikTok really come in, COVID really disrupt the marketplace, and I think the one thing I'd like you to take out of this is that today content is no longer perfect. It's no longer somebody holding a product. It's relatable, it's fun, it's entertaining. That's the only content that works. And I've seen this over the last 12 years of doing influencer marketing. There's a real change. If your content is not relatable and fun and in the same style as influencer, it's not going to work. And we've done so much research into this space, right? So that's where we are. We are in the social 3.0 where everything is all about the TikTok For You page, right? And why is this important? There's a lot of stats in this. I don't want to go through a lot of this because I'd rather go through some of the case studies. But there's two things I want you to take out of this. I think one is the fact that 76% of all social content consumed today is actually made by creators. 76% globally. So if you're brand managers in the room, all that time you actually spend creating that beautiful ad you put on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, etc. I'd almost argue it doesn't matter, because 76% of this content is actually made by your influence. So why would you not invest in that, right? And the other thing, which is shocking, this is actually OMB and WPP research, 37% of average total spend on digital today is spent on influencer marketing. 2 years ago, this was 0.01%. I have clients who spend 70% of their total digital budget on influencer marketing today. Right? So that's how fast it's moved. And I'm showing you this because I want to show you the speed of how it's moved. Influencer marketing is 6 years old. Right? Social media is about 15. And if you look at how fast it's growing, it's really changing very, very quickly. So for you to be successful in influencer marketing, you have to be part of the conversation and then do what's in the future, because if not, you get left out. What was really cool 3 days ago is not cool today. De-influencing was a trend we saw a few days ago. It might not be a trend tomorrow, but it's a trend right now, so we have to act on it, right? So think about the fact that this is not a slow space. We have to keep going and we have to keep experimenting. So in that spirit, I'm going to show you a bunch of things that are happening at Ogilvy around trends that we're seeing across the globe. How many times have you heard the word AI today already? First time? Is it? Oh, that's amazing. I'm actually surprised. I thought you would have heard AI at least 10 times now. Okay, so we are starting to see AI starting to really become real. I'm seeing a lot of campaigns that we're doing where AI is starting to really supplement influencer marketing. And I don't mean supplement in the sense of the infrastructure, so I don't mean using AI to find creators, make the payment, identify. That obviously is a very big part. AI is playing a big role in the infrastructure of creators as a whole. But I'm starting to see AI become part and parcel of campaigns. So I'm going to show you a piece of work for one of my clients in Brazil called Magalu. So Magalu is a retailer in Brazil, and what you're going to see is a case study where you've used an AI artificial influencer to really supercharge the whole campaign. And again, when I say AI, I want you to think about this roadmap, right? We're not talking about virtual influencers that just sing and dance, right? We are in this stage where AI influencers are becoming brand advocates. They are virtual influencers powered by AI that are fully connected to the full funnel of your consumer journey. Everything from your out of home to your digital to your point of sale, they're starting to see a big role in it. So this is a case study, and bear in mind, this is a case study that's a year and a half old already. So we created the world's largest virtual influencer for a brand called Magalu. This is the case study.
Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how I became the biggest virtual influencer in the world.
Magalu, Brazil's biggest retailer, believes that brands need to become creators to avoid being disadvantaged on social platforms. That's why Magalu turned Lu, its virtual assistant created in 2003, into its virtual influencer. In recent years, Magalu has invested and boosted her career, making her a celebrity of pop culture. Last year, she was unstoppable and reached the top. She performed in a real-life music video with Anita, and every outfit in the video was sold out on our app. She was featured in a virtual world clip with DJ Araki and sold out all the items used in the clip. She was also live on TV shows with Fortnite's cutting-edge technology. She's been hired and created content for some of the world's greatest brands, being the first virtual personality ever designed by Red Bull's official illustrator. She stole the show in the fashion world by being on the cover of Vogue magazine. She's also done a lot of amusing activities, especially dancing, and she danced a lot. Her engagements and reach numbers are off the charts. People don't simply follow her, they love her. Her success is driving meaningful engagement with our brand throughout her social channels, and she's becoming an important asset to our company.
Isn't that scary? That's 2 years old, right? So that, and then they launched Lu for Magalu in 2003. So it's taken them 10 years to get to that stage. So this won the Grand Prix at Cannes last year for social and influencer. So it kind of shows you how much the space is evolving. You know, like for, you know, just to put this into context, last night we actually launched a new flavor for Coca-Cola, you know, like one of our big brands across the world, which was powered by AI. It's AI flavored. So AI is everywhere, right? But what you're seeing is it's starting to become really interesting, engaging in the influencer marketing conversation beyond infrastructure. And I think that's really important to notice. The other big trend I want to talk to you about is cultural engines. So influencers are very, very influential, right? That's why we use them. We know that. People trust people more than they trust brands. We know that. But we're starting to see these influencers start to use their influence for good. And it's starting to really drive impact in the real world. So a big trend I'm seeing going into 2024 is actually how influencers are becoming cultural engines of change and how we need to be really driving that change through the community. They have this power, they have all this power, and actually us as brands, we are talking about CSR and purpose and sustainability. Why don't we use them as part of those campaigns? So I'm going to show you a piece of work now for Dove, one of our big clients again around the world, called Turn Your Back. I don't know if you saw this piece of work, but this is the Grand Prix winner this year at Cannes. There was a filter back in 2023 called Bold Glamour Filter. I don't know if you saw Bold Glamour Filter. This is a filter on TikTok. It was the first time AI was used to create a filter, which meant that you would use the filter. There's a 99.9% chance that you're going to like it because it sees what you don't like and then it changes it. So if you use the filter, you're going to like it, basically. That's scary, right? Because for a brand that stands for real beauty and not really using filters and distortion, etc., that's a really big deal. For some context, this filter got downloaded, I think it was 30 million times in 24 hours. So it was a big cultural moment. What we did is we activated influencers on a campaign within 24 hours. We had 72 influencers go live in 8 markets. 2 full days before any brand content would go live. Because think about it, by the time you shoot content, you produce it, you go through legal, get it signed off, it takes a while. Influencers can do that in their bedrooms tomorrow, right? So firstly, think about how they can help drive culture, but then think about how they can do it at speed. So I'm going to play this case study, and I think it's really interesting to see how you're starting to see influencers not just hold products and quotes, which is what they normally tend to do, but it's starting to become real interesting, cultural change engines around the world.
I just woke up. This is not what I look like right now. This filter should be illegal. Here's the real me.
Who are you?
A new beauty trend going viral on TikTok.
What's the filter called again?
Bold glamour. Bold glamour.
Bold glamour.
Bold glamour.
Unlike traditional beauty filters, every pixel on your face is regenerated, and I worry about how this impacts young girls' confidence.
It is time to turn our backs against digital distortion. If you're with me, do the same.
Donc si tu es d'accord avec moi, rejoins le mouvement.
I think these filters are going to hurt us, and I think it's time we started our harmony.
We're not just doing it for our family. We know there's other families, we know there's other kids out here that's watching, that's listening.
The hashtag Turn Your Back is all over TikTok right now, asking users to reject unattainable beauty standards.
I don't think my brain knows how to deal with looking like this 1 minute and then this.
It's digital distortion.
I say that I don't need this.
We're going to tell the truth and shame the devil and hopefully help some families along the way.
You don't have to look like that filter to be beautiful. You already are.
So, I mean, obviously TikTok sued us for that, because we went after TikTok, right? But that's a great start. I mean, that's social change, and that's okay. And you know, we can manage these things. I think what's interesting is that out of that 1 billion impressions, 85% of that was organic, driven by influencers. 85% of a billion impressions. And the only reason that happens is because we did that within 24 hours of the campaign going live. The brief came in at 6 a.m. By 9 a.m., the creative was done. By 11 a.m., we had influencers going live all around the world. Because that was a social moment we had to crack on. If we didn't have that, we'd actually miss it, right? So think about using influencers as part of cultural change. You're seeing a lot of brands do this more, but you have to be authentic about it, and it goes back to that point number one I made. iCommerce. This is influencer commerce, so not just social commerce, but using influencers to sell. That's a big part of what we're seeing next year. We're seeing a lot of brands doing full funnel influencer marketing to go beyond brand building, because right now what's happening is a lot of brands are using influencers for, awareness, consideration, but actually the brands that are winning are the brands that are doing full funnel and really connecting dots across everything and being smart about it, right? So I don't know if you've heard of TikTok Shop. We've been testing TikTok Shop in a lot of our markets, and it's working. For Dove, we did a piece of work where actually we sold 1 product a minute on TikTok Shop. And this is a $3 bar of soap, right? So people are buying on iCommerce D2C channels. So think about how influencer marketing can help with that. So, and this makes sense. If you look at the hashtag TikTok made me buy it, it's got 60 billion views and counting. So people are starting to do this, and it's starting to slowly come in, and they're launching in more markets every day. So I'm going to play a case study again. And this is a piece of work for Zalando in Spain, which shows you how they're starting to think about D2C as a connected journey as a whole. Again, it's a year old, so it shows you how much the space has already evolved.
We now live in a world where billionaires sport hoodies and Fortune 500 executives dress like rap stars.
Streetwear is more than a fashion style. It's an attitude.
Represents the streets, remixing words, remixing culture, remixing brands, and coming up with our own language.
Nowadays, public space is frequently faced with restrictions. Consumption habits have changed, and credibility and valuable content generation are more important than ever. Zalando needed an exciting way to launch its new streetwear collection and become the starting point of fashion. Zalando's Street It All is a platform that wants to take street culture everywhere. To execute the campaign, we designed the production entirely in 360 degrees. Instead of using standard models, we collaborated with the 28 most relevant content creators in street culture: singers, street artists, Olympic skateboarders, DJs, activists, and exclusive talents of this fashion style.
Donde me podéis encontrar por las calles de Madrid.
Él quiere representar aquello que le está pasando, pero con arte.
Puedes mirar looks literalmente mirando Google Maps. Eso sí que está épico.
Through the content created by our ambassadors and interactive out of home, where they were the protagonists, people discovered the outfits and bought them online. Google created for Zalando 16 pin stores in Google Street View all over Spain.
turning its map into an innovative e-commerce tool with Zalando and its street stylers as protagonists.
It's a great example of Google innovation culture.
With this data, we showcase a complete connection with our targets. And thanks to these results, Zalando will replicate the idea in other European cities. Media reception was also outstanding.
So, I mean, that's a full funnel campaign that has influencers at the heart of it, and that's what we're starting to see now. I think, you know, because again, I do a very global role and I talk to a lot of people in a lot of markets. When I sometimes play some of these case studies, something I get asked is, but this doesn't work in a market like mine because I have a small budget and what I'm doing is I have to use influencers to amplify and activate an experiential event, or I need to promote a piece of work. What I say to that is that's not true at all. I think if you actually take one step back to actually try and connect it into the start of the journey, you can do all of this. I mean, some of my best campaigns at Ogilvy, you know, have been done at budgets of less than 2,000-3,000, you know, euros, because we can still try and find a way. I would rather spend that money on putting an influencer at the start of a campaign and connect that journey than try and do amplification. Because you know what, you can buy media. As in, if you're using influencers for reach, I'd almost ask you why. Because if you know, because reach is cheaper if you buy it through media. So why are we using influencers for reach? You use influencers for consideration, for authenticity, for actually, you know, connecting those dots. So use it for that. Don't use it for reach, because buy the reach. You'll get it 80% cheaper if you buy the reach than try to use influencers for reach and scale. So really think about what your KPIs in influencer marketing is. If it's reach, I'd say there's other ways to look at reach, right? And then lastly, I want to quickly talk to you about business influence. How many of you have heard of business influencers or use B2B influencers? Is that a thing? If not, it's something we're starting to see really come up. So we launched at Ogilvy a B2B influencer offering 2 years ago. It's the fastest growing part of Ogilvy Influence. We're growing 400% year on year on that, you know. And then again, when I say B2B influencers, I don't mean LinkedIn. So I think a lot of people assume B2B influencers is basically a university professor who, you know, puts a post on LinkedIn. That's not B2B influencers. It's so much more stronger than that. And there's some really interesting work around this. And come talk to me later. I can, you know, show you some of the work. But I'm going to show you the launch video for our B2B offering to give you an idea of actually how we talk about B2B influencers. 95% of all our work in B2B influencer marketing doesn't happen on LinkedIn. Just to put that into context. So when we say B2B, don't think LinkedIn. Think much bigger than that. And I think if you have a corporate comms offering, this is, you know, something you should be thinking about, because it's coming, and our clients and our brands are really asking for it. And you know, these are the brands that also have the budget to be spending on influencer marketing, right? So this is a good potential, you know, space to grow into.